Welcome to In Our Town, Conversations with Springfieldians Making a Difference. I'm your host, Tom Carlson, publisher of the Springfield Daily Citizen. If you'd like to comment on this episode, our email is inourtown@sgfcitizen.org. We'd love to hear from you. Much of Springfield's history is intertwined with the Ozark Empire Fair. The 72-acre fairground on Springfield's north side has hosted fairs and other farm-related events for nearly 100 years. In terms of visitors, it runs neck and neck with the State Fair in Sedalia. And it's changed a lot, though, from the days of livestock competitions, carnival rides, and homemade jelly contests. Today, the fairground is a major economic driver in Springfield, drawing thousands of people for trade shows, entertainments, and conventions. These events will become even more numerous and larger with recent improvements. With me today is the CEO for the fairgrounds, Owen. He's going to tell us about what's happening now, what we can look forward to in the future, and how this Springfield asset has been transformed from a county fair to a major event center. Aaron, welcome to In Our Town.
Thank you.
Now, you've been associated with the fair for a long time, haven't you?
I was on an advisory board many years ago and then got on their board of directors in 2007 and then was asked to come on board as a general manager in 2012.
I think I read from your bio you worked at Paul Mueller for a long time, but you do have a farm background.
Yeah, we run a purebred cattle operation west of Springfield and have for many, many years. And then before that was in the dairy business. So got a love for farming and a great place to raise our kids, and they still farm more than I do, actually. So,
did you grow up in the area?
Yes, I grew up down by a little town of Battlefield with a small dairy farm.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Do you know the Steels that were out there?
Yep.
They lived down the road from my folks.
Yeah, I know actually one of their sons, Jeremy, he rode around with us and my kids showing beef cattle for many, many years, and now he's raising his kids showing beef cattle with my grandkids. So
those relationships go way back. Back to the fairgrounds. What's going on out there right now?
Well, right now we're in the process of finishing up a 163,000 square foot multi-purpose arena. Different than in the past, it's designed to do multi-type events where we just did the farm show, which was a trade show. Then we brought in dirt and did the Missouri Finals Rodeo. We got a barn hunt on the dirt this weekend. Dirt leaves on Monday, and then we have a large trade show for new automobile showcase coming in behind that, and that's the way that'll continue to run next spring. Then in the lower level is a small area for small trade shows, but then half of that area will be used for Springfield Public Schools to do some kind of ag in the classroom for 7th and 8th grade. They're doing their own curriculum, and then we will be doing 3 or 4 camps in the summertime once they're gone. Ag in the classroom, we've got a lady on staff that she does my sales, but also will be writing the curriculum for those camps. Targeted primarily, ours will be targeted a little more to the homeschool kids that hasn't had the opportunity to really be able to have that in their curriculum at home.
Now, the facility itself, how big was the previous building that torn down?
It was a third this size.
Yeah, I was thinking that this one should seat like 6,000 people. 6,500.
Has a full kitchen in it, much larger than the one we had before. We've got several Christmas parties already booked in there, and then up above there's the Little Ranch Cattle Club, which will seat about 260, 280 VIP room, and then there's seats associated with that.
Now, the old place, I used to go out there when I was a kid, and it got darn hot in the summer. You'd have those big fans that would try to move the air through there, but it was still hot. Is this going to be air conditioned?
Yeah, it's air conditioned, and then it has 4 large fans. The brand name of them are big-ass fans.
Is that right?
Yeah, we had those in the old arena, too, but they'll do an awesome job. It's very highly engineered for the R factor required per building code, and it's been pleasant without nothing on this past month, but a state-of-the-art type facility.
Now, tell me, in preparation for the interview today, I saw a discussion about arena football and a team called the Ozark Lunkers. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, those are owned by a local gentleman here in town, bought the team and is operating it, but has a contract with us for 3 years, and they'll start right at the 1st of June and do at least 4 games, home games. They'll do at least 4 away games, but they're up and going well. We just met with them earlier this week, looking at some final details of how they'd sell their tickets and how it'd be laid out for their ticket sales based on the way our seating is done. So a lot of excitement around that.
How many events will you host a year at the fairgrounds?
We put on 19 of our own. A couple of those are not in town. We own some farm shows out of town, one over in Kansas, very large one particularly. We'll do somewhere in rentals about 115, 120 rentals. We're one of the largest catering venues in southwest Missouri. That's kind of a hidden secret. We don't advertise because we stay so busy with it. And a lot of Christmas parties and the new arenas. We're booked in 25 weekends already and 27 weekends in 2025. Those will be new events.
I know, like with trade shows, that frequently they book those things 4 years out, that sort of thing. I'm sure that's pretty much your experience as well.
Yeah, we're getting some one-hit wonders till they try it, but most everything that's coming in there, we've got an agreement with BMX. They're in there for 3 years, which will be a huge event for us in March. We've got Missouri USA Wrestling's there 4 weekends, potentially 5 in the spring. And they booked out 3 to 4 years for their events as well.
So tell our listeners the kind of range in events that they'll see at the new events.
Well, as we start off, our first event will be monster trucks inside, which is something you don't see around here. Then we'll have a large motocross be in there. We'll have a national bull riding event, and then we'll have BMX come in with it's a huge event for them.
For our listeners, what's BMX?
That's the bicycles that kids and adult ride, and we'll have 4,500 yards of dirt in there, and they'll build the big ramp, and then we take the dirt out for one weekend for a very large Missouri USA Wrestling event. Bring the dirt back in, and then we got reining horses. We've got our large Midwest Regional PRCA Pro Rodeo will be in there. And then we skip a week, and then wrestling's back in there, HBA home shows down there, Outlander's back in there with him, a motorcycle event tied to his outdoor trucks and stuff he's already had.
Now, I remember the old event center, and in terms of the footprint, is this one quite a bit larger? I know that seating's more, but...
the floor of the arena, if you push the bleachers back on the bottom level, it's about 176 feet wide by 296 feet long. That's just
that
wide
seems like
open.
Almost twice as big.
It's 3 times as big.
Is it?
The floor is, as well as the seating capacity.
Yeah, wow, okay.
We've got one major restaurant in there and concession window, and then there's 3 remote concession windows. And before, we just had a itty-bitty concession window. So, huge difference.
With this bigger facility, I would imagine that you all are try to score some national events where previously it was more regional. Is that right?
Yeah, we're doing that. I mean, we would have never been able to do these wrestling events we've done, and BMX would have never considered us for what they're doing. We're looking at some archery events as we speak. We've got some cheer competition coming in as we speak. A lot of those will be at least big regional level or national type level events that have an interest to be there. We don't have them yet, but we're working on them.
Give me the top 2 or 3 events that draw the most people. Put aside for the minute the fair itself.
Well, our next one would be our farm show. The Ozark's Fall Farm Fest has been around 46, 47 years. We used to partner with Farm Talk newspaper. In the past 5 years, we've acquired that business along with the 4-state farm show. We own that 100%. But that's our second largest event that we put on, followed by our Lawn and Garden is a very large event for us.
How many people would come to those kind of events?
Farm shows, I think our numbers for this past farm show was around 64,000 over 3 days.
That's a lot of hotel rooms, isn't it?
A lot of hotel rooms, yes it is. Yes, it is.
I was interested in kind of the business operation in this sense. You know, if some big-time music star comes to town, the way those things work, they'll pay you something to rent your facility, but they get the concessions and just about everything else. Is that pretty much the same business model at the fair?
No, we don't allow any outside catering or concessions. We'll rent out for a concert or, national horse show or whatever it may be. But we maintain all of our own concessions and alcohol sales, and we want to maintain that integrity, and we run our own concessions and everything. We have since 2013 and been very successful. And
once you start, if you ever break that rule, then everybody's going to be
watching. Yeah, we're not going to change that rule. Yeah. They do what they do best, and we do what we do best.
So those big events, they pretty much just make their money off of ticket sales, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
You were talking about 20,000, 40,000 people coming to Springfield for 3-day event. As I said, that's a lot of hotel rooms. That's a lot of people buying dinner in town, that sort of thing. It's got to be a gigantic economic driver for the community.
Yeah, in 2007, we did an economic impact study, the board did, and was bringing in about just shy of $14 million. We redid that in 2016. We didn't do it. We hired out a third party that scrubbed all the local people off and just truly bringing in new money. And we came in at just shy of $30 million. It was like $29 million and change. Then we just did a rough.
What he says means how much money they were spending in town.
That's how much economic impact came from outside of town to in town.
Okay.
It doesn't count me or you going there. They scrub off that however they do it with their software. And
okay.
Because we were going to go do something anyway. And then we did a preliminary one and looked at it for where we were at in 2022, and we were just a tick over 40 million with what we had. And then we did a projection by adding the arena, which is going to be our projections way low, just based on construction costs and everything else. But it's going to put us at about $54 million. Seeing the rentals and what we're bringing in, and you kind of put that in the formula that they used, we get up and going, and by end of 24, 25, we'll be in that $60 million economic impact easily.
Do you think what you're doing is impactful enough that it's a result in more hotel rooms?
Well,
do you have an opinion on that?
Well, my understanding is we overbuilt anyway. Hopefully we can take care of some of that need. I know when you look at Farm Show and you look at the fair and some of those events, we black out pretty much everything that's here. But we got a great relationship with Mark and Lance and Dana down at CVB and Sports Commission, working very close hand in hand and trying to place those events when we got availability, but also when the city needs hotel rooms. So we got an excellent partnership with them, which was much better than it had been in the past, to work together and bring in events together. And so I think it'll work very well.
Maybe one reason we want to build more hotel rooms is you're planning on a lot more camping sites out there, aren't you?
We are. That's unique to various different things that some of our events need or demand. We have 108 now camping spots, and our goal, we're going to have to go back on a mission to raise some money, but our goal is to get up to 500. We've worked very close with the National Airstream and some of those. They need like 1,200 camping spots. That doesn't work for us. But if we can get in that 500 range, we can, the 80-20 rule applies. 80% of the camping events we could take care of, 20% we can't. You got to go up north, the state fair, to get that many camping spots, but they don't have the hotels to support their events either.
You work awfully hard making things run out there at the fairgrounds. In view of the expansion and that's going on there, do you have an opinion on whether we need a new convention center here in town? And if so, what would it be able to do that you folks aren't already doing?
Well, sitting on Sports Commission, I've seen some of the studies for that, and there's some studies that prove there's a need for one here. I think a lot of that is geared more towards sports that we wouldn't do, like basketball, things that's got courts down and whatnot to support that. It shows it's needed. They're typically great for economic impact. They're not great for profitability.
Right. That's why they always want the taxpayer to float a tax for it, isn't it?
So, but all the studies that's been done, at least through Sports Commission, shows we need one. And we'll take care of some of those needs on the sports side, motorsports, rodeos, wrestling, some of that stuff we'll take care of. We're not set up to be the major basketball courts and things of that nature. So that's about as much as I can say on that.
We'll be right back after this short break.
Well, look who it is. Welcome back, Answer Man. I hope you had a nice vacation.
Oh, it was great. Thanks.
Steve, I'm glad you're back. Good to see ya.
It's good to be back. Oh, look, it's our managing editor, Rance Berger.
Hey, Steve, welcome back. You should probably know we brought on a student intern. Her name's Michelle.
Great, Rance. Thanks for the heads up.
You've got mail.
Hi, Steve. I'm Michelle, the new intern working remotely. Excited to be part of the Springfield Daily Citizen team. Nice to meet you. I'm Steve, the Answer Man, all caps. Looking forward to working together.
Send email.
Hello, this is Steve Pokin, the Answer Man.
Steve Pokin, this is Michelle, the new intern. I have a question for you. What year was Springfield's first public library founded?
Well, that's an easy one. The first public library was established in 1875.
Actually, it was founded in 1873.
Ah, challenger. I like it. But I'll warn you, Michelle, Answer Man is never wrong.
And neither am I. What is the tallest building in Springfield?
Well, the answer to that would be the Hammond's Tower, standing at 270 feet, 22 stories. Good grief, is that all you got? This is child's play. Give me something more difficult.
Okay, my father would like a word. I'm connecting him now.
Your father? Why are you bringing him into this?
Dad, can you hear me?
Yes, Michelle. Thank you. So Answerman, Mr. Pocket or whatever they call you. My daughter Michelle is not just any intern. She's got algorithms in her corner, and she's never wrong. Michelle has been designed to learn and adapt, and she's been studying up to take over your job. Soon you will be on vacation for the rest of your life.
You can threaten me with the whole chatbot family, but I'll never back down. I know everything about Springfield like the back of my hand. She's bright, but lacks experience.
Dad, he's being mean to me.
Don't you dare talk about my daughter that way. This is not the last you've heard from me.
You tell him, Dad. Wait until my big brother hears about this. He's going to be very angry. You sleep with one eye open, Mr. Pocken. We're not finished with you.
Well, that took an unexpected turn. I didn't think I'd be facing a chatbot family feud on my first day back from vacation. But even in the face of adversity, Answer Man will never waver. That is my commitment to readers of the Springfield Daily Citizen. So if you haven't checked out my column yet, head over to sgfcitizen.org to learn about the tallest, the widest, record-breaking, and other oddities about Springfield, Missouri. Serving up facts at sgfcitizen.org.
Probably a lot of folks don't know how the fairgrounds is set up in terms of ownership and governance. As I understand it, the city owns the land, and the fair board, you all have a different name for it, but we call it the fair board, rents the land from the city. Is that how it works?
Yes, it's called the Greene County Agricultural Mechanical Society, which is a mouthful, but that was done in 1937. And all the buildings and everything that's there has all been built by that fair board. And everything remains ours as long as our lease is intact, and then there's an option to renew. We just renewed that, so we got 30-some years now. So the city has nothing to do with it. We pay our rent. We take
What do
care
you
of
pay, $1 a year, or I don't know?
I don't know. There's a formula for it. I know they took an increase when we redid the lease, but they're good to work with from that standpoint.
Well, it's good for the town, that's for sure.
All the upkeep's our problem. We got some help, a lot of help from Greene County, a lot of help from the state of Missouri on this new facility. Got a little help from the city, not near as much as the county and the state did for us. But up until then, we'd gotten no funding whatsoever.
This was this ARPA COVID money that you got?
Yeah, then we got some money before that happened. We'd already got some money from the state of Missouri they had Governor Parsons and some of the legislative staff seen the need for this and wanted the economic impact in Missouri. The American Royals examples leaving Missouri and going over into Kansas. And again, the 80-20 rule, 80% of what they do, we can do here now, which before we couldn't. So we're trying to reach out and grab as much as those activities as we can and keep them here in the state and keep that revenue here.
How many people are on the fair board?
There's 13 on the fair board, and then we've got a foundation fair board, and there's 19 on there.
And if a vacancy opens up, the remaining board members select a new board member. Is that how it works?
Yeah, and a lot of those come off of so we start you on a foundation board, and not always the case, but a strong chance is somebody off that foundation board that's been a rock star is going to move on up into the main board.
Well, you want them to know how things run,
right,
and get their feet wet.
Yep.
And be able to see the cut of their jib before you decide to put them on there.
Exactly.
And then is that a lifetime appointment, or is it roll over every 3 years?
There's both. The foundation is every 3 years with 2 terms, so you can do 6 years on it. The Greene County Agricultural Mechanical Society Board is 11 years, and then there is a few lifetime members there that get elected in as lifetime members. It doesn't transfer down to their family members, but it does for them, which is a good thing because we're unique in keeping the agriculture as well as growing a new business model of what sells in today's world. It's nice to not have those drastic changes on the board.
You don't have to be re-educating people all the time.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about the fair itself. I've lived in Springfield almost my whole life. I remember going out there 60 years ago and looking at all the cattle and the pigs and seeing the FFA kids, the Future Farmers of America, showing the livestock. In what ways is the current fair different from what it was back when you and I were kids?
On the FFA side, it really hasn't changed a whole lot other than the fact that we use a lot of the FFA chapters to actually help us with the fair. Not only are they there competing with their mechanics and the stuff they build and their livestock, but also they help do grandstand work. They help do...
But there's not as many of them as there used to be, are there?
Yeah. FFA is pretty strong.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, they help us year-round. 4-H, on the other hand, is there. We got rid of the old 4-H building because it was blighted and all that, and we've actually moved that up into the E-Plex in a more prominent place with our life and arts, our pies and cakes and quilts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
4-H just isn't as strong as it used to be when I was growing up. It's still there, with the internet and diversification and all that. It's not as strong as it used to be for us.
I believe that the Ozark Empire Fair that's in August is the second largest fair in the state after Sedalia. Is that
Correct.
right?
That's
and
correct.
You guys run neck and neck in it. A couple times you got almost where you exceeded their numbers.
Their admissions are going to be stronger than us. They pull from Kansas City, St. Louis, Carnival and stuff. We scare them to death sometimes. We're right there. We're very good partners with them. We work very close together. I volunteer up there, and we work very close with the state fair.
What do they emphasize that's different from what you all emphasize here?
They have a stronger agriculture base still that where we've lost with urban sprawl in our 30-county area. A lot of that it's just been eaten up, especially Greene County there's maybe one dairy left here and whatnot. They haven't seen that as bad. They still got a lot of crop country, and that's grown. Where we've changed our model some is if you go through there, we'll have 5 to 7 free things for you to do, whether it's axe throwing or a piano going down the street or sea lions there for you to pet and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Because with the zoo next door, which we're partners with, and Branson down the road, to give you something that's a
you can
wow.
get a 2-fur or 3-fur, can't you?
We have to get something in there that you don't see when you go to Branson, or it's not right next door. So every year at convention, and we're usually about a year ahead, we try to bring something in that's different. The one-man band going down the street. Last year we had the strolling piano, which everybody loved that, and we had the sway pole off of America's Got Talent there, and that's changed from years past. I mean, our fair is still a community celebration that we're judging the best pies, the best quilts, the best beef animal, swine, whatever, but we've had to put that attraction piece to it.
How do you go about figuring out what you think people would really like to see?
We'll go to convention here the end of November, and then we come back, and we've got a focus group of people that they're made up from some of our radio and TV stations, some of our larger sponsors. I think maybe the exception of one, they're all under 40. And we started this 7-8 years ago because it's not what I want or my staff wants. We needed to know what those folks under 40 wanted to see, and we wanted them to, even our fair food, what they think's cool, or when they walk in the gate, they wanted different signage or they wanted different fair guides or whatever. So we literally abused them one day of going through that stuff and saying, we'd like for you to hire this act. We'd like you to put cotton candy in your vanilla ice cream cone as that kind of stuff. And it's worked very well. They don't get involved so much with the music acts. We've got a talent buying group that we work pretty close with there, but your free entertainment, the signage on the fairgrounds, some of our ag venture programs and stuff, the focus group's probably been the one that I can't take credit for. It's what they've picked out and said they want to see.
It sounds like where you get a lot of your ideas is going to conventions.
Conventions and working with other fairs. When I was working for Paul Mueller Company, you had to spy on your competition. The beautiful thing about the fair industry is we all show each other because we're not competing against each other. So if something works, whether it's a combine derby or a demo derby, you talk to them and, that worked. No, this didn't work. So it's a very open book type environment. I'm on the international board, and it's fun because you just call your other fairs and talk to them about stuff. And
a friend of mine, I'm sure you know him, Jim Tucker.
Oh, yeah.
He was president of the International Fair Association.
President and CEO of International Association of Fairs and Expositions.
Yeah, and he's a Springfield boy.
Yeah.
He's got a farm out at Willard. It's been in the family 100 years, and it was interesting talking to him and how different fairs are around the world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we go to fairs, and I just took my staff to the State Fair of Texas, or part of my staff, and after we went through the fair, I mean, it's huge. They bring in 2.5 million people over 20-some days.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
they'll sit there after dinner, and I'm like, what'd you think? And they're like, we're blessed that our livestock barns and our arena that we're building is, we're on top of the world. And you're hearing this from your young employees that they're like, wow, we never knew that. And their stuff's nice. It's just been nice that in the past 10 years, we've invested $40 million out there, and we got the best of the best.
I'm glad you brought that up. I know you've spent a lot of money out there, but you don't owe a lot of money, do you, the fairgrounds?
No, we didn't owe any money going into the arena, and hopefully if everything comes through that's been pledged to us, we'll be in very good shape.
Well, that's great to hear. I've enjoyed talking to you today. Before we sign off, is there anything that I forgot to ask you about do you think people would like to know?
Just go to our website, and the web address is www.ozarkempirefair.com. If you don't like what's there this weekend, it's going to be different next weekend, and a lot of our own private events are very family-friendly, fun events to go to, and you're part of the community, so you're our customers, and we want to see you there.
My guest today has been Aaron Owen, CEO of Ozark Empire Fair. Aaron, thank you for being on In Our Town. That's it for this week, and many thanks for listening. If you'd like to listen to other episodes, you can visit the Springfield Daily Citizen website at sgfcitizen.org/In Our Town, or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.